Welcome to the fifth dimension. I'm Cerise Fairfax. Today we're going to talk about some techniques that you can practice to stop your mind from running. Because if you clicked on this video, then I know that sometimes at 3 a.m., your mind is a runaway train. One thought leads to another, then another, until you're lying there, wide awake, mentally rehearsing conversations that may never happen, replaying mistakes from years ago, or catastrophizing about tomorrow's presentation. Does that sound familiar? I'm here to tell you something that might surprise you. That racing mind of yours, it's not broken. It's not a character flaw. It's actually your brain trying to protect you. Believe it or not. I know it doesn't sound like protection, but it's doing a terrible job of it. Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to completely change your relationship with racing thoughts. You're going to learn not just how to stop them, but why they happen and how to prevent them from hijacking your peace ever again. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. Now, why the mind races? Let's get to the science behind it. First, let's understand what's actually happening when your mind races. Your brain has an ancient alarm system called the amygdala. Think of it as your personal bodyguard. The bodyguard's job is to simple, scan for threats and keep you alive. The problem, it was designed for a world with saber-toothed tigers, not emails and social media. When your mind races, your amygdala is essentially screaming, danger! But instead of real tigers and lions and bears, it's responding to things like an awkward text or tomorrow's meeting. Your rational brain, the prefrontal cortex, knows these aren't life or death situations, but your amygdala doesn't care. It floods your system with stress hormones and demands immediate attention to every potential threat. Here's the kicker. Racing thoughts create more racing thoughts. Each worry triggers your stress response. Here's the kicker. Racing thoughts create more racing thoughts. Each worry triggers the stress response, which makes your brain more sensitive to the next worry, creating what psychologists call a rumination loop. Yeah, you're literally training your brain to be anxious by feeding it more anxious thoughts. But here's the good news. If you can train your brain to race, you can train your brain to slow down. All right, now, before we dive deep into the techniques, you need to understand something fundamental. You are not your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Okay? You are the observer of your thoughts. Think about it this way. Right now, you can observe your thoughts thinking. There's a part of you that can step back and watch your mind work. The observer part, that's the real you, the soul in you. The thoughts, they're just mental events, like clouds passing through the sky of your consciousness or a text being printed on a cell phone. Most people are completely identified with their thoughts. They don't realize that they are not that text, so to speak, in the brain. When they think, I'm going to fail tomorrow, they believe that thought is true. But thoughts are not facts, and you have to really believe that. Thoughts are sometimes just conjured up fear. They're just electrical impulses in your brain. Some are useful, but some are complete garbage. and most are just random mental chatter. The moment you realize you can observe your thoughts, you gain power over them, just like you can delete a text as you're writing it. You stop being the victim of your racing mind and you become the conductor of your mental orchestra. Now, I want you to keep in mind that this shift in perspective is absolutely crucial for everything you're about to hear. When your mind starts racing tonight or tomorrow or whenever it does, I want you to practice this simple phrase. I notice I'm having racing thoughts. I don't want you to think I am anxious, but I notice I'm having anxious thoughts. This is something, just this small linguistic shift creates space between you and the thoughts. And that space is where your power lives. You're not giving power to the thoughts, but you are recognizing that there's something within the text of your thoughts that needs to be rewritten. So here's technique 1. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method. Now let's get practical. The first technique is called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method, and it's based on just a simple practice. Okay? Anxiety lives in the future. Depression lives in the past. But peace lives in the present moment. Here's how it works. When you notice your mind racing, immediately engage your senses. This is the key. Start with sight. Name 5 things you see right now. Look around and really notice them. Not just lamp, but the brass lamp with the white shade that has a small stain on the left side. Be very specific. Be very present. Details are key. They help to distract you and hold your attention longer. Next, name 4 things you can physically touch. Actually reach out and touch them. Feel the texture of your blanket, your skin, the coolness of the wall, the smooth surface of your phone. Your racing mind can't compete with direct sensory experience. Now, 3 things you can hear. Maybe it's the hum of the air conditioner, cars passing outside, or your own breathing. Really, listen hard. It may be crickets outside if you live in the countryside. There will be some sounds that you can hear. Maybe the neighbors next door, maybe the snoring of your partner. Sound is happening right now. Listen deep in this moment. And racing thoughts can't survive the present. Then, 2 things you can smell. This might take a moment. Most of us don't pay attention to smell. Maybe it's your shampoo, the scent of your laundry detergent, or fresh air from an open window. Maybe your cream that you put on. It could even just be your phone that you smell. It could be your pillow if you're laying down. Remember, there is something to smell. And if there's nothing right away, you will find something, and that helps to distract your mind even more. Finally, 1 thing you can taste. Maybe it's the lingering taste of toothpaste, or you might take a sip of water and really focus on that sensation. Why does this work so powerfully? Because racing thoughts require mental resources, and when you fully engage your senses, you literally don't have enough mental bandwidth for worry. You're hijacking your attention away from future fears and past regrets and anchoring it firmly in the only moment where you actually have any power, the now, right now. The second technique is called the brain dump, and it's based on something called the Zeigarnik effect. Our brains are wired. They're wired to keep incomplete tasks at the front of our awareness. That's why you can remember exactly what you need to do tomorrow, but you can't remember where you put your keys 5 minutes ago. Here's the step-by-step process. Get a pen and paper. And yes, it must be a pen and paper, not your phone or computer or tablet. There's something about the physical act of writing that signals to your brain that these thoughts are being properly handled. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Now, write down every single thing that's bouncing around in your head. Don't organize it. Don't prioritize it. Don't make it pretty. Just dump it all out. Worries about work, things you need to buy, that conversation from last week that's still bothering you, random song lyrics, everything. Write the stream of consciousness style. If a thought pops up about your mom while you're writing about work, write it down. Don't edit yourself. The goal is to empty your mental cache completely. Here's the crucial part though, okay? When the timer goes off, close the notebook or fold the paper and put it away. Tell your brain, thank you for bringing these things to my attention. They're now safely stored and I'll deal with them at the appropriate time. Why does this work? Your brain's job is to keep track of important information. When things keep cycling, it's often because your brain doesn't trust that the information is safely stored somewhere. By physically writing things down, you're essentially telling your brain, I've got this handled. You can relax now. Many people report that their racing thoughts slow down immediately after brain dump, sometimes for the first time in weeks. It's like your brain lets out a huge sigh of relief. I've had clients do that because I'm a soul coach, and right away they're like, wow, Cerise, this helped. Although they have to keep doing it sometimes a lot, especially when they're going through breakups or job change or a certain trauma in their life, but it does work. The third technique is called stop and redirect, and it's based on interrupt pattern therapy. When you catch your mind in a racing loop, you're going to deliberately interrupt that pattern and redirect your attention. The moment you notice racing thoughts starting to say, hey, I'm here, you have to say, stop, out loud. Yes, out loud. If you're in public, whisper it. But use your voice. There's something about hearing yourself say it that makes it more powerful than just thinking it. Then immediately, and I mean immediately, right away, at least within 3 seconds, redirect to something physical. Here are your options. First option, focus on your breathing, but not in the way you might think. Don't try to change your breath, just observe it. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, then leaving your body. Count your breaths if it helps. Breath is always happening in the present moment. Second option, do a quick physical reset. Stand up, do 10 jumping jacks, stretch your arms above your head, or splash cold water on your face. Physical movement changes your state instantly and gives your mind something concrete to focus on. Third option, the 3-3-3 technique. Name 3 things you can see, 3 things that you can move with your body, like your arms, move, in other words, move 3 parts of your body, and say 3 sounds you can hear out loud. This combines grounding with physical movement and vocal engagement. The key is consistency. Every single time you catch racing thoughts, you interrupt them the same way. You're literally rewiring your brain's response pattern. At first, you might have to do this dozens of times a day, but gradually your brain learns that racing thoughts don't get to run the show anymore. Think of it like training a puppy. The puppy, your racing mind, keeps jumping on the furniture, spiraling into worry, and every time it happens, you firmly redirect it to the appropriate behavior. Eventually, the puppy learns. The fourth technique combines 2 powerful concepts: compartmentalization and scheduled worry time. This might sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. Most racing thoughts are about things we can't control right now. Your presentation tomorrow, whether your friend is mad at you, if you're making the right life choices, these are all future focused concerns that serve no productive purpose at 2 a.m. Here's what you're going to do. Create a mental future box. Visualize it however you want: a wooden chest, a filing cabinet, a cloud storage folder in your mind. When worries about tomorrow pop up, visualize yourself taking that worry and physically placing it into the box. As you put each worry in the box, say to yourself, I acknowledge this concern. I will address it at the appropriate time, which is not now. Then visualize closing the box and setting it aside. But here's also a crucial addition. You're going to schedule actual worry time. Pick a specific time each day, maybe 15 minutes at 3 p.m., maybe 10 minutes at 1 p.m., where you open that box and you actually think through your concerns. Write them down. Make action plans for what you can control and accept what you can't. Why does this work? Your brain needs to know that important concerns won't be forgotten. When you have a designated worry time, your brain can relax because it knows there's a system in place. You're not suppressing your worries, you're scheduling them. During your worry time, you'll notice something interesting. You will. About 80% of what seemed urgent at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, seems completely manageable in the light of day. The other 20%, you'll notice, you can actually do something about those during business hours. This technique teaches your brain that racing thoughts are not emergencies requiring immediate attention. All they are really information that can be processed at the appropriate time. The fifth technique is about understanding how your environment affects your mental state. Your brain creates powerful associations between locations and emotional states. If you're lying in bed with racing thoughts for weeks, your bedroom has literally become a trigger for anxiety. When racing thoughts start, especially in bed, get up immediately. Don't lie there and fight with your thoughts. That's a battle you can't win. Physical movement breaks the thought pattern and changes your neurological state. Go to a different room if possible. If you live in a small space, just sit in a different chair or even on the floor or on the corner of the bed. The goal is to break the environmental association with racing thoughts. Here's what you do in your new location. First, change your body position completely. If you were lying down, sit up straight. If you were hunched over, stretch tall. Your posture directly affects your mental state. There's actual research showing that confident postures reduce stress hormones. Next, change your breathing pattern. Take 3 deep breaths, but make your exhale longer than your inhale. Breathe in for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Then exhale for 8. This activates your nervous system, your body's natural calm down mechanism. Finally, engage in what I call a pattern interrupt activity. This is something that requires just enough mental focus to break the thought loop, but not so much that it becomes stressful. Here's some options. Read something light and engaging. Not work emails or news. That will just stress you out a little bit more probably. But maybe a few pages of fiction or an interesting article. Listen to a podcast or audiobook that requires attention but isn't overstimulating. Do a simple puzzle, crossword, or Sudoku. The key is finding something that occupies your mind without being demanding. Stay in this new environment until you genuinely feel your nervous system calm down. This might take 10 minutes. It might take 30. But remember, don't rush back to bed. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is just relax. You want your mind to be settled. Now let's talk about preventing racing thoughts before they start. Everything we've covered so far is reactive. What to do when your mind is already racing. But the real power comes from being proactive. First, understand your personal racing thought triggers. Keep a simple log for a week. When you do have racing thoughts, typically write them down. During what situations, times of day, or circumstances? Because this is your trigger. Common patterns include late evening scrolling on social media, Sunday night anticipation anxiety, after drinking caffeine late in the day, after drinking too much alcohol the night before, during hormonal changes, or after consuming negative news. Once you know your triggers, you can create what I call mental fire breaks. Protective practices that prevent thought fires from spreading. If you know Sunday nights are tough, implement a calming Sunday evening routine. If social media triggers comparison spirals, set specific times for checking it, not mindless scrolling. Practice these techniques when your mind is calm, not just when it's racing. This is crucial. It's like learning to swim. You don't learn during a hurricane. You learn in calm water so the skills are there when you need them. Spend 5 minutes each morning doing the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique when you're already peaceful. Practice the stop and redirect when you're not anxious. This builds neutral pathways that make the techniques automatic when stress does hit. Improve your overall stress resilience through the researchers call stress inoculation, regular exercise, adequate sleep, limiting caffeine, and maintaining social connections all make your brain less likely to slip into racing thought patterns. But here is the most important prevention strategy. Develop a strong relationship with uncertainty. Most racing thoughts stem from our desire to control outcomes that we can't actually control. The more comfortable you become with not knowing exactly how things will turn out, the less your mind will race trying to figure it out. Practice saying, I don't know how this will turn out, and that's okay. This single shift in attitude can eliminate 70% of racing thoughts because it removes the mental pressure to solve unresolved problems. Now, we've covered more than 15 minutes. A lot of it was ground rules, and there are going to be ground rules that will help you. Now you have 5 powerful techniques for stopping racing thoughts. The 5-4-3-2-1 grounding method, the brain dumps, the stop and redirect, the future box with worry time, and environmental state changes. More importantly, you understand why these techniques work and how to prevent racing thoughts before they start. But here's what I want you to remember. I want you to remember this most. This is a practice, not a perfection. You're not going to master this overnight. Some nights will be harder than others. Some techniques will work better for you than others. That's completely normal. Start with just one technique. I recommend the 5-4-3-2-1 method because it's simple and works quickly. Use it consistently for a week before adding another technique. Build your skills gradually and remember the fundamental truth we started with. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. Facing thoughts and looking at them like text can help with your racing thoughts and not feel like they control you. But you will take that urgency and you will turn it around. Okay? Those mental events passing through your awareness will start to get less and less. You don't have to believe them, engage with them, or even be controlled by them. Your mind is incredibly powerful, but it works for you, not the other way around. These techniques will help you remember that and reclaim your peace. Tonight, when you lie down to go to sleep, and if your thoughts are racing, you'll have tools, you'll have options, you will have power. Sweet dreams, and remember, a calm mind is your birthright, not a luxury. You've got this. Please take a moment to subscribe to The Fifth Dimension. If you have an idea for a video, please let me know. The Fifth Dimension is a channel for higher love, higher learning, higher peace, and higher harmony. Remember to be good to yourself out there because you deserve it. And also remember, tomorrow's not promised to you. So make the best of today. Blessings to you.
Each version of me